Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmasi Mimiros Bercha. Dear Rabbi Stefansky, I made a donation to sponsor a day's daf for December 26th and honored my husband Josh Whistler on his 40th birthday. Mazel tov. Since tuning in every day, he's a better man than the man I married. You changed his life for the better, and I'm eternally grateful to you and eternally proud of him for his dedication. I hope we can share this message with him to hear on Tuesday. Tiskla Mitzvah Sharona Whistler. Boy, say last night when I got here to Ma'ariv, right after the Hebrew shir, there was a note on my stender, one of the nicest notes. I hope it wasn't an adult. I'm pretty sure it's an authentic note. Here it is. Dear Raveli, I'm an MDY Kids, and it's so fun to learn Yishurin. Thank you. Gewaldig. Otherwise, this is very sad. This is Yonatan Lover learning Torah in Gaza, and he was nifter yesterday. Killed. Yeah, Shemi Liefman. It makes it real when we say Tehillim, when we daven, when we learn their zchus.
Good morning, Rabbi Sai.
See, if she does it, you could also do it. Paratroopers, Division 55, closing in above the Kama 55 in Khan Yunis, Shmuel Eidler. They're 45 today, 54 today, 55 tomorrow. Bezer Hashem, Hatzlach Gdoila. Arya Levy's from Zurich, Switzerland, caught in action 6,000 feet over sea level at skiing break. Caught with rebellion, not skiing, but on screen, learning the daf. Mikam Yisrael, kind regards, Aryeh Meislik. Could be it's the first time in like 40 years that I'm not going to be going skiing, unfortunately, because of my knee. Some shtickle. I might have to go with my sons just to support them, bring them there. So here's the Shaila. Sara's Yisrael. Here's the Shaila. This question, it's an email directed at Rav Nachman Seltzer. What is the past tense of scream?
Of scream?
The past tense.
You screamed?
Yeah, screamed. So this kid, A.B. Joseph, who's 14 years old, I find it funny that Rav Nachman Seltzer corrected you so quickly about noxious ear. But he's been letting you get away with scream for all these years.
Some things you can't do anything about.
Without saying a word, I challenge you to publicly ask him. See, he does know, A.B. He knows his stuff.
Trust me, I knew about it, A.B. Thank you.
Still daffing. Rabbi said the koilel of the day, sponsored by Sharona Whistler, for my husband Josh Whistler on his 40th birthday. You have transformed his life. This is coming from testimony from a second person, not the person himself. Unbelievable. Very good shmak. Mazel tov. Koilel of the week, Yedidya Pereira. Lezchut zivig b'karov. Chana Rochel bas Michal. Chayim David ben Shulamis. ושושנה ברכה. Ben Shulamis. ושושנה ברכה bas Shulamis. They should all have shidduchim b'karov. The Masech is sponsored for the Yedidya of Am Yisrael. The Parnas HaChodesh, the Lish was Chaya ben Moshe, Lish was Chaya bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh Yosef ben Chaya Sara for the zchusim that come from supporting limud HaTorah. Parnas HaChodesh, Yedidya Pereira, Lezchut zivig b'karav. Chana Rochel bas Michal, same person as Koilel of the week. Chana Rochel bas Michal, Chaim David ben Shulamis, ושושנה ברכה bas Shulamis, zivig הגון. Parnas HaYoim, Shimi Liefman. On my shviggers third yorzite, Miss Toby Olsberg. Chaya Toby Olsberg, David aliya shalom, and neshoma have an aliya. And the art of the day, Yedidya Pereira. Lezchut zivig hagun b'karav. Chana Rochel bas Michal. Chayim David ben Shulamis. ושושנה ברכה bas Shulamis l'zivig hagun.
I'll tell you, he also sponsored. He also sponsored 100 Gemara.
Huh? And he also sponsored 100 Gemaras, made the zchus of all the Torah from the 100 Gemaras. From all these people are going to start learning Torah, Bezer Hashem, and that zchus, it should be a zchus for all these children that need shidduchim b'karav. Rabbi, so we have a wonderful daf today, very simplistic daf with beautiful art. We're holding daf and Amud Beis, and I have a few questions for the olam. This is a really tough one. I have to say, there's a 17-year-old bacher who got the answer last night. I was very, very surprised. And I told him that I challenged the English shir. I hope somebody's going to know today. When a person has Meiser Sheni money, he has from his 10% that he gives himself on years 1, 2, 4, 5, he's allowed to go to Yerushalayim with the money and buy all sorts of food. Is he allowed to purchase herring and crackers with that money?
No.
You say no. Hold on. We're getting somewhere. No. You're not allowed. If you were here last night, Ishkoyach, you were here last night. No. Where's Benny? He wanted to answer the answer. He's not here. Does anybody know?
What other food is there?
There's all sorts of food. There's liver. Are you allowed to buy liver? Yes. You're allowed to buy steak? Yes. Are you allowed to buy herring and crackers?
Crackers, yes, herring, no.
Why?
You don't like herring grows from the ground, and herring is not.
Oh, Lauren Spiegelman got the answer. You're not allowed to purchase fish with that money. It's a trick question. Herring, no. Crackers, yes. Gewaldig. Now, this is the easy one. What non-kosher animal has the most kedusha in the Torah, and what non-kosher animal has the least kedusha in the Torah? Chamor says the Peretz Chaim Levine has the most, and what has the least? Dog. Very good. Okay. Givaldik. Says the Gemara. We learned in the Mishnah 6 lines in the bottom of Gimel and Beis. We learned in the Mishnah that if a bull falls into a pit with kalim on its back, you're potter for the kalim, you're chaya for the bull. Why? Because we learned in yesterday, shar v'loy adam, chamar v'loy kalim, that if a human being falls into a pit, you potter. If a kalim fall into the pit, you potter. Mastis is like Rabbi Yehuda, but this doesn't go according to Rabbi Yehuda. This is Rabbi Yehuda mechayev al niske kalim bebar. So we got to go right away to the charts. Rabbi Yehuda says you are chayev for all kalim. My time the Rabbanan do makro v'nof al shama shar oy chamor, a bull or a donkey. Shar v'loy adam, chamor v'loy kalim. So it says mefurish in the pasuk that a bull falls in, but not a human being. A chamor falls in and not kalim. So let me ask you the question: we're doing chazara raboisai. So what if a human being falls into a pit and breaks his leg? Is the owner potter shar v'loy adam? Chayiv, nizakin, gewaldik. Rabbi Yehuda argues the word oy in purple. Oy, l'rabis is hakelim. It should say v'nofal shama shor v'chamar. What's oy chamar? Teach us that if kalim fall in the yoke, whatever it is, he has a whole package on his back and it falls and it breaks. You are chayiv, says Rabbi Yehuda. So our mission doesn't go like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbanon. You would think that you have to have both an ox and a donkey to fall in. Then you're chayiv. If one of them falls in, you'd be potter. No, is l'chalik. Oy says either or. Rabbi Yehuda l'chalik. How does Rabbi Yehuda know to be mechalik? Mivin nofal nafka. Nofal is a lashon yachid, singular. It fell. It, not they. It. One. Rabbanon v'nofal tuva mashma. V'nofal can mean many. Like the famous Maisa with the Rosh Hashiva, he came out at a wedding and he goes over to one of the Talmidim and he says, "Do you have room for us to go back to Bnei Brak?" Talmud was a mechutzif and he says, "No, Rebbe, I only have room for one." He says, "It's okay, we will squeeze in." Fine. Sometimes a person can use the lashon rabbim, sometimes use the lashon yachid, depending on the godless of the person. The Rashi brings this pasuk. It says, "Vayomer David el Shol." It's talking about that David was willing to go fight Goliath. And they said, "What are you talking about? Like, how can you fight Goliath? You know how big he is." He says, "No." So it turns out that he says, "I killed a lion with my own hand. I killed 3 lions. I killed 3 bears. A bear." David doesn't know. We're mumchim. Bears are even stronger. They have more power than lions. A nice geschmack polar bear could take apart a lion. He said, then he realized, David HaMelech realized that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent him the bear. All of a sudden a bear comes and fights him. A bear grabbed his sheep. A lion grabbed his sheep and he ripped it out of his mouth. Why? It was a simon to him that he could go fight even Goliath, to give him the confidence to go fight Goliath. But it says over there, if you look at the pasuk, it says, what should it say? They came. It says it.
Not the same
It
time.
came.
It's different time.
Okay, but it shouldn't be singular. The proper Hebrew,
Ari.
uba hadayv. But if you're going to talk about uba ari vidayv, it's that ubo hari vaysadayv. So you see that you can use singular even for many. Says the Gemara, ema v'nofal klal. So now we're going to go into a very simple sugya. Usually the Olam gets all nervous. Oh, hold on. How did I skip this? Chacham learn shar or chamar is not kalim, not adam. And Rabbi Yehuda learns even kalim, geshmak. I love the way he did it. Okay, now we're going to move on to klal prat klal. Very simple one. It says v'nafal. V'nafal means anything fell into the pit. It's a generalization. Anything, all these things fell into the pit, you're chayiv. Klal, shor v'chamar, prat. But then the Torah narrows it down to only two. Shor v'chamar. So we say in the morning, shloishes remidas shatar dresses them. There's 13 rules, and this is one of them. When you have a klal or prat, so when the Torah generalizes, then specifies, then the Torah is explaining exactly what the generalization is. It's very, very specific. It's only these two things, shor v'chamar. Don't tell me that anything that's similar to shor v'chamar, anything that has four legs is also included. No. It's just this. That's what a klal or prat is. Once you add a klal or prat uklal, if you add another generalization at the end, then it includes many, many things that are similar to the two things that the Torah specified. But now we're not holding by a klal, prat, uklal. We're only holding by a klal and a prat. So therefore, we're very, very limited. Only two things that fall into a pit are yuchayiv. But all the klal, shor v'chamor, prat. Klal prat, ein b'klal, ela mashav prat. Then the generalization only has what is very specific. Shor v'chamor in, yidachin eloi. So how do you know that if a camel falls into the pit that you're chayiv? Amri. You have to say, again, here in Baba Kama, Amri. Ba'ala bor yishalim chozer v'kolal. So we have another generalization. And once you have another, it includes everything. Klal brother klal yatadon alkeina prat. Not everything, but ma prat. Then you go to the prat and you learn from the prat. Ma prat before Chayim. It's alive. It's a living being. Avkol bali chayim. So anything that doesn't have life, a computer doesn't have life. So if the computer falls into the bar, you're potter. But if your parrot falls into the bar, you're chayiv because it has life. Ima prat meforish dovshin v'losim mitam b'magu masa. Says Gemara, but wait a minute. Let's learn other things from it. There's something called mago masa, and this is very, very important to know because this could be a riddle. What living being that you touch after it's dead are you not tummy? And the answer is a bird. A bird, if you touch a dead bird, even an ostrich, you pick it up, you lift it up, you're not tummy. You pick up a dead lion, you're tummy. Any living being, you become tummy. Jonathan, we just started. We didn't get to the turning of the daf. I need you for the turning of the daf. It says over there. So what is a metama or it's not metama at all? Okay. No. Iftar is metama beis aliya. A dead. That's iftar, right? Iftar, you're metama when you eat it, only eating. So the Gemara says, okay, so maybe it comes to exclude. Go back over here. Maybe it comes to exclude bird, maga, masa, touching, lifting. Fine. Says Gemara. So again, so the question is, how do you know birds that fall into a pit that you're chayiv? Gemara says, why does it say shar v'chamar? Two things. They're extra. One of them is extra. So the Gemara is going to say that they're not extra. That you need both a shar and a chamar. And if they're not extra, then the question comes back. Then how do you know that if a bird falls into the pit, they're chayiv? So the Gemara says, no. Hey, nichtav, which one is extra? Because of shar, a shar is kosher. You bring it on the mizbeach in shein karv mizbeach loy. So that if the Torah just talked about a kosher animal, I think that a non-kosher animal like a cow that falls in, or even a donkey that falls into the pit, you'd be potter. So that's why the Torah had to say chamar, because of Rachman chamar. But if it only said chamar, avamina, kach b'chayr in, shein kach b'chayr loy. A chamar, a firstborn chamar, donkey, you have to redeem with a sheep. And if you don't redeem it, what do? Knock off its chop off its head. you give it to the Chaya, the sheep. So it has Gedusha. So I think maybe the Torah said that if a chamar falls into the pit, that animal only, even though it's not kosher, you have to pay for it. But if a camel fell into the pit that doesn't have any Gedusha, maybe you don't have it. That's why the Torah had to say both the shar and the chamar. The bottom line is, how do I know a bird? It's interesting that Rebbe Lezer says that the reason why a chamar has this Gedusha is, first of all, it's Xeris HaKasav. We don't really know, but he says, but if you look into it, the chamar helped us when we left Mitzrayim. Klal Yisrael, each person had 90 donkeys laden with all the goods. So they did help us in a way. Hello, Amar Krov Amesi Eloi called the Bar Misa. So now I'm going to take the pasuk that we had yesterday. We learned different limud from it. Another limud. V'hamesi Eloi, anything that has life to it. The Torah is telling us that the dead body should go to you. Called the Bar Misa. So even a bird. So the Gemara is going to ask in a second, but we used up that drush already yesterday. Whether you hold like Rabban, whether you hold like Rabbi Yehuda, before we get there, there's another question. If you say that kalim are included, or kalim are not included, if a kli falls, a computer falls into a bar, you potter, kalim, the Torah says, it has to die. Can a kli die? Amri shvirosan zuhim isasan. Yes, a computer could die. Sometimes a person's car dies. Things die. Kalim do die. We use that lashon for kalim also when they are gone. The Dubna Maggid says, a mashal says a guy borrowed a pot from a rich neighbor. Sure, take a pot. The next day he comes back with a large pot and a small pot. The neighbor says, "But you took a big." He says, "No, the pot had a baby overnight." Here, okay. So he takes it. The next day he says, "Can I borrow a knife?" Yeah, he gives him a knife. Comes back the next day, gives him 2 knives. So what's this? He says, the knife had a baby. Okay. The next day, he comes, he says, "Can I have your golden menorah?" Says, it's going to have a baby soon. It's no problem. Here's the golden menorah. He calls him up, he says, "I have bad news. Baruch dein emes." So what happened? The menorah died. How could the menorah die? He says, if the pot could have a baby, the menorah could die. The nimshal is that you shouldn't go after major chumras. There's a lot in the Torah. If you go for too much, then you start taking off the chumras, and then all of a sudden, once you start taking chumras away, then you start taking real mitzvahs away. So you stick to what you have. You have this kli, stick to this kli. Huh? Yeah, what about it? They don't? Okay, we're not going to go into politics here. Okay, we'll talk about it later. The other thing is that if a person has...
The Gronics, not the briskers.
You talking about the Gronics? That's deliberate. I thought you were talking about because they daven slow. No, the Gra holds that that's piyutim. You don't say piyutim on Yom Tov. Okay, that's a different thing. It says it's not that, yeah. It's kedai to be a Gronik, trust me. Half benching, this. You only have to use 2 matzahs on Pesach night. You don't have to use 3. You save money. It's givaldic. So, another thing is that if a person has, let's say, exar din mavis, a person did a terrible avera, so one of the things to do to get out of it is to break your midas. Breaking midas, shvirasan, zumi sasan. When you break your midas, you work on yourself and you say, okay, everybody shalala, I'm not going to do this and that because I need a kapara. That's like misa. The famous Rav that says that a bar creates damage through the bad ear. So this is a question that somebody asked once during the shir. So how are you chayiv on kalim? What exactly happened to the kli from the bad ear? Amri bechadati demapki mehavlo, demipaki mehavlo. So if you look it up even today, earthenware that doesn't have like that coating. What is it called? The coating on top of the earthenware one? The glaze doesn't have glaze. It's very susceptible to humidity and temperature changes. You put it, if you go from cold to hot to cold, it bursts. So the Gemara says there's something called damage from the hevel. There is such a thing. Hi V'amesi Eloi, asked the Gemara, but let's go back to 2 minutes ago when we said that from V'amesi Eloi, we learn all animals that fall into a pit, you're chayiv, because it says that the dead body goes to you. It's Gemara, like the Rava we had yesterday. If you have a carbon that had a mum, and you can't bring it any longer for a carbon, so you redeem it. It becomes yours, you can eat it in a way. Shenafal bar, but on the way, let's say you want to shecht it, and before you were able to shecht it, it falls into the pit and dies. The owner of the pit, potter, he's potter. Why? So we already used the words v'hamesi. They're not available to teach us about all other animals. Take a look over here. This is all AI that I did yesterday. The pasuk tells us, what do you do with this animal? Rak b'cholavas nafshcha tizbach. You should shecht it v'achalta, and you should eat basar. So we learn from that tizbach. You don't share its wool. V'achalta, you eat it. You don't give it to your dog. V'loy basar and not milk. Rashi brings it down over here. So Mela, if I cannot do these three things, then it's not mine in a way. Mine means I can do whatever I want to. I want to give it to my dog, I give it to my dog. You can't tell me, dictate, you can only eat it at a barbecue and for yourself, and nobody, I can't use its milk. You can't, if I can't do all the things I want to do with it, then it's not considered mine. So it's not considered v'hamesi eloi, and Memela, that's what the pasuk comes to tell us. So Amigdashim, you're potter. It's a tremendous chiddush. My pit is potter. If your $2,000 cow falls into it, I don't have to give you a dime. Why? Because it's not really yours. It's yours for a limited eating or whatever. Therefore, it's not available to teach us that all animals of the world, you're chai if they fall into the pit. So how do I learn that all animals are chai when you fall into the pit? Elo makra, another pasuk. Kesev yoshev leba'alav. It says in the pasuk, Ba'al bar yishalim kesev yoshev leba'alav. So I learned from there, called the isli ba'al. Anything that has an owner, you have to pay for. As the Gemara, guess what? A human being also has an owner. In what case? Slave? Kalim also have an owner. You should be chai from that for everything that falls into the pit. No, but we have amiyot sharveli adam chamar v'lei kalim. Well, Rabbi Yehuda kamar bilu l'kalim. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda says, I learned shar oy chamar. The oy teaches us even kalim. So the Gemara does something that you hardly ever see. According to Rabbi Yehuda, memay be adam el chamar, memay be shar, memay be adam. I use the word shar to exclude a human being. But what do I exclude from the word chamar? Says Rava in Hanami, I have a word here, I don't know what to do with. Elo amar Rava, chamar de bar le Rabbi Yehuda. You're right. The word chamar, that's in the pasuk of bar, according to Rabbi Yehuda, I have nothing to do with it. V'seh daveda. And also, by the way, he adds in. It says in the pasuk of when you find a sheep, you have to give it back to the owner. And it says in pasuk Gimel, v'chein taseh l'chol avedas achicha. If you find your friend's watch, you have to give it back to him. You find his wallet, you have to give it back to him. So then why does it say his sheep? What does it come to add? I don't know, says Rava. There are two words in the Torah. I have no idea what they come to add. So it's taka shver. Now, happens to be, the Meshech Chochmah says like this. There's something that really annoyed me once upon a time. Some people would love it. I hate it. This guy gets a phone call. He says, yeah. He says, did you just lose your iPhone? The guy goes, yeah, thank you. He says, okay, listen carefully. Yeah. I'm about to take a hammer. I'm going to smash it. You can listen how I do it. My Rav told me, since it's a tray phone, I don't have to give it back to you. There's no chiv of Shavas Aveda. Bam, bam, and he broke the phone and he hung up. Says the Meshech Chochmah that I would have a havamina that since you're not allowed to have sheep in Eretz Yisrael, it's also galabei medaka. So maybe if I found somebody's sheep, I'm not mechuyev to return it. Kamash malon se, even a sheep. So he says, huh? Okay. Even an iPhone, well, it depends. If you hold it's a tray thing, it depends on everything. There's a...
What do you mean sheep? You mean pig?
When I say sheep, I mean a sheep. First of all, we don't say pig in the share, we say pig. Sheep is also, you're not allowed to, because they go and they graze on other people's land, so it's also to bring them up. That was a Mishnah that we once learned. Anyway.
Eat the grass out of sof. They eat the roots.
No, it's because they... yeah. Let's go, Rabbi Isai. Look at Amud Beis. It's kind of large, but it's very simple. When we learned the Mishnah, we learned that the shar is a cheresh, the shar is a shaita. We discussed how could a shar be a shaita, how could a shar be a b'kech. But how do we get to it? Let's see how the Gemara derived at that conclusion. What does it mean? Usually it means the shar of a cheresh, the shar that's owned by a shayt and a katan. It seems like that if the owner is a smart man, a normal man, then your potter doesn't make any sense. Why would you be potter? We have a beautiful picture here. A boy side, take a look. This is a shard that is a shaita. It could be also he's a katan. Shar shu katan. Because he doesn't know his way around. Daf Amud Beis. Hashar shu pikeach potter. Now, I have two shadows for the olam. It's a question. Seems like the shar that who is a pikeach, shar that's a smart shar. What's a shar? Here's a smart shar. A boy, if you want to see what it looks like. There's a genius of a shar. There's two videos I wanted to put in here, but I whatever. Maybe Yosef will put it in. It shows a shar that's pikeach. He did smart things. He wanted to break out of this little pole that he had. Or there's a shar that went into its own wagon, tied himself into the wagon. Okay, fine. I have a shayla for the olam. Is it mutter? It's also to plow your field with two species of animals, a donkey and a shar. How about a shar and a human being? Could they plow a field together? That's question number one. This is very, very simple, but it's kedai to think about it. There's another one. My neighbor in my building has a smart parrot, very smart one, and he shows me all the time. And he tells me serious stuff. He has a big problem. On Shabbos, the parrot says, "Alexa, turn off the air conditioner." Ma'aseh Chaya. And Alexa turns off his air conditioner. In the middle of the Suda Shabbos, the parrot screams, "Alexa, turn off the lights." Ma'aseh Chaya.
Shut off his phone.
What?
How many people's houses?
That's interesting. Warning. Turn off volume. Turn off Alexa. Givaldi. So, question. The Alexa turns off the air conditioner. Can you go over to the parrot and say, Alexa, turn on air conditioner? Are you allowed to do that? 100% not. It's awesome. It's awesome. So we're going to see why it's awesome.
What if you hint to the parrot?
Hint. A lot of people think, Rabbi, a lot of people think that you can take your 3-4-year-old and put your 3-4-year-old by the switch and say, the switch, also awesome. What you're allowed to do, not of course. Somebody I know told me, Rabbi Berkowitz said, no, never said that. You're allowed to, if the kid is younger, maybe, according to one sheet, is put the kid next to the switch and not say anything, and the kid automatically does it by himself kind of thing. Maybe. I'm not a Rav. But to tell a kid to turn it on and turn it on, it's just a kid, that's awesome. The kid is not a Shabbos goy. He's not. Oh, sponsored by the guy that ran away at 7:40, right before we started cheer, Jonathan Stefansky. To remind the Olam that it's the end of the year and you can get tax benefits in Eretz Yisrael as well because we have a SIF 46, and certainly in America where. Huh?
He left at 7:46.
Did he really? It was 7:41, I think. Okay, fine.
He left at 7:42.
He left at 7:42. Omar Revirmia, let me buy a car. So the question is, if he's a shar that's smart, will you potter? And you know what the answer is going to be? Yes, a shar that's smart, you are potter. What's the reason? Because he's smart. He knows where to go. He knows not to fall into a bar. But anyways, before we get to that answer, not only a shar that's normal. I would think that the shar who's not that smart and he's young, he doesn't know how to go. Maybe it's his fault, it's the shar's fault, and the owner should he should be potter. We learn bardas. It doesn't say what, if it's a human being or animal. It seems like it's an animal. Potter. What are you telling me that a bardas is chayiv? My love, shar bardas. You made a distinction between one that's smart, one that's not smart, or not. But you see over here that a shar that's smart is potter. Amalei loy adam. Talking about a human being that falls into the bar, like we said, you potter for a person that falls in the bar. What if you have a guy that's a little off, and he falls into the bar? You potter. It says shar v'lei adam. It doesn't make a distinction how much seichel he has. Elamai ben das, min ben das. He comes from a species that has brains. That's human beings. Some are less, some are more, but you potter for a human being. That's it. Now it's checkmate, because it says Mufurish in the Brisa, Shar ben das. So there is a concept that a shar that has das, you're potter for. El Amarava, this is what we knew before. Shar vu cheresh, you're right. You are chayiv only for a specific animal. A shar vu cheresh, he's a deaf mute. Shar vu shaita, a shar that doesn't have brains. Shar vu katan, or a very young one. Dafka. Ava shar vu bikach potter. But if he has seichel, he's potter. Why? My time at the boile ayune umezal. It comes out like this. Tanya namihacha. Nafal that a shar should know where he's going, and it says also nafal shar cheresh v'tekadim v'suma. If he's blind, u'mahalach b'layla, or any animal at night, chayav. And it says mefurish bikeach u'mahalach b'yoyim potter. So nacham chazara. There was a trick question in the beginning of one of the shiurim. If a shar falls into a pit in the middle of the day, you're potter, because he should know where to go. So the only time that the Torah is talking about that a shar is chayiv is at night, or if he's blind, or if he's dumb. Says the Eli Mishnah sponsored by Moshe Cohen Latzlacha for Parnasa and Ruchnius. The Mishnah is going to bring us 8 cases that when the Torah talks about an animal, it means every type of animal, even a lion and even a bird. Echad shar ve'echad kol behemal and a filas habar falling into a pit. That we just said. Ula afroshas har Sinai. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said they should not go onto Har Sinai, if you go on Har Sinai, you die. And it says in the pasuk in behema. It's not dafka behema. It's not dafka cow. It's even a lion and a deer and even a bird. When did Klal Yisrael have fire come down from Shomayim? Barad ve'eish min Shomayim in Mitzrayim. When else? When else? Yeshua. Very good. Says Ashi Yeshua. Guy knows his stuff. And Reb David we know already. And but there's one more time, says the Targum Yonason. Anybody that went up to Har Sinai, even an animal, he would die on the spot from Barad min Hashamayim. This is the Targum Yonason. Says the Mishnah. Utashlume kefel. When I say in the pasuk, imimatzi biyadai hagneva mishorat chamorat seh. Shnai mishal, you have to pay double when you steal. It's anything. And the Gemara is going to learn each and every one very simply limudim. Leprika Rabbois, I check out the art today. It's unbelievable. I said that the Shlumi Kevel. This I didn't say. And to return a lost object, it's not dafka said, like the pasuk says. And this is leprika. When you see your friend's animal, or even the Torah says your enemy's animal, you have to help out the animal. And certainly when you see your friend walking in the street with packages, or even sometimes women with the strollers, you mechuyev to help. L'chasima, shor b'dishoy, when an ox is threshing the wheat, you're not allowed to muzzle his mouth. So it means every animal. L'klayim, beautiful picture of boisai, a shor v'chamor yachtov, plowing a field, u'l'shabos, and when it says that you're not allowed to have your animal work, it means even your neighbor's parrot. Can't tell Alexa. V'chein chaya v'oiv kayoytze b'hem. An animal, and a bird. Why does it say by bar, dafka shar chamar? The Torah was talking, in those days, people used them as vehicles, as cars, tractors, trucks. That was the shar and chamar's job. It's not going to talk about a bird plowing a field when, typically speaking, a bull plows a field or falls into a bar. So, I had the same exact kasha, beautiful kasha. I don't know the answer. I don't know. I asked my chavrusa ve'loy onali. L'nefilas habar. How do we know that includes all animals? We just had a whole.
Don't go to certain places. It's teaching you a lesson for all time.
I don't know. No, but we always ask. Hava and limoisa Mashiach. Like it's not our thing. Kesev Yosef leBaalav. We learned already on Amud Aleph that it includes all animals. Ksiv kol islay ba'alim kedamara. La Afroshas Har Sinai. How do you know? This is the second one in the Mishnah. In behema im ish lo yichya v'chaya b'chlal behema havya. Check this out. We learned this, but it's kedai chazara. It says in the pasuk zois habehema asher techelu. This is the animal you should eat. And in the pasuk later it says ayol utzvi yachmor, which are chayos. So you see the word behema could mean a chaya. Okay. Im l'rabbis es ha'ifais. It comes to include Even the birds, if your bird went on Har Sinai, it would die. Like we say, a different place. I'll call dvar pesha klal. I'll call dvar pshia. Anything that you steal. We had the pasuk before. We don't have to show it again. Anything, right? It said sen leprika. How do you know that you have to help an animal that's loaded up and it's struggling? Yalev chamor mishabes. It's a beautiful religion we have. You mechuyev to help animals. We care about animals. We care about the suffering, even your enemy's animal. So remember this chamor we're gonna have it later from Shabbos, okay? Because we're not gonna understand it then, but we'll remember that we had it over here. The chasima. Here's, by the way, the chasima. Here's a beautiful picture of chasima. Yolif shar mishabes. Here's a bird ostrich that's also doing disha. Leklayim, iklayim the charisha yolif shar mishabes. If I'm going with plowing, then I learn from shar mishabes. Here, check out this beautiful picture. This includes even a fish and a chamor plowing together. I'll tell you, I tried really hard to find a picture like that. We had it once before, and I put together. It was terrible. This Yoshi was able to put together a combination of AI and Photoshop and a lot of stuff. Anyway, what? I know the sand is the problem. Okay, but that's what he gave. And it says MDY in the sand. It's cute, the whole thing. Yeah, because we're talking about plowing. Yolif shar mishabes. Iklayim darba. If you're talking about mating two animals, Yolif be'emdecha mishabes. We got Shabbos Minolan. And how do you know, Yosef, this is for you? Because I don't think we'll be able to play it now, but this is the parrot, the African gray, turning on Alexa. Okay, I'm pausing on Shabbos. Okay. Alexa. No, this is not. This is not on Shabbos. We say it in Kiddush, right? It doesn't say what kind of animal. It says behema. The second lucha is nemar v'sharcha v'chamorcha. It specifies the two animals. V'chol be'emtecha. Why is it all of a sudden the second lucha does the Torah specify animals? We're going to learn soon from the word v'chol comes to include other animals. It includes all animals. Behema, the dibros are shown is klal. So we have a klal about the klal, simple klal about the klal. Don't get nervous, don't fall asleep on it. It's two lines. It starts off every animal, right? And then it says sharcha v'chamarcha, the dibros achron is prat, but then it specifies klal prat and klal mashav prat. So it's only those two animals that are not allowed to work on Shabbos. Your parrot should be able to do a lex on Shabbos. Shar v'chamar in midachin eloi. Amri v'chol be'emtecha, the dibros achron is chazer v'kolal. No, because it says v'chol be'emtecha comes to include all animals. Klal prat klal, yatadon in a prat, ma prat meforish bal chayim, avkol bal chayim. Anything. Tosis asks a simple question on top. It's so far away. The luchas are shon v'achor. How do you do klal prat klal from all over the Torah? Says Tosis, no. Zachar v'shamed b'dibur echad nemru. They're together. Ve'ema ma prat meforish davar shenivlasim etam mag. This we had on Amud Aleph, so we could fly through this. Maybe let's go and look at a shar chamor. What is special about them? That when you touch their dead body, you become tamei. A bird, a kosher bird, you touch it, you don't become tamei. You don't become tamei when you put it in your mouth. So how do you know an animal, a bird, he's not allowed to be Michal Shabbos for you? So say either a shar or a chamar, same Gemara as we had before. Hey, but they're not extra because I need each and every one. Because the Rachman shar have amina karv legam mizbeach in shar is kosher for the mizbeach. Because Rachman Chamar, so that's why the Torah has to say a donkey that's treif. Because Rachman Chamar, if it would just say Chamar, I mean, Kaddish B'Bchayrin, Shen Kaddish B'Bchayr Loi. I think donkey has a special kedusha. You have to do Petach Chamar. Because Rachman Shar. But the bottom line is, I need both Shar and Chamar, so I don't have anything extra. If I don't have anything extra, how do I know bird? Ela v'chol behem techa ribuyo. It comes to include the word v'chol, comes to include also birds. Says the Gemara, but sometimes the word v'chol doesn't come to include. It comes to say klal pratu klal. Boys, I'm just telling the guys that just came in for Shachris, we had a very long delay. We had a major technical difficulty, and we started shir late, so Meil Shachris starting a little late today. maybe 5 more minutes. Oh, so Rabbi said, if you remember the question I asked, could you buy herring with Meiser Sheni money? You hear guys in the back that weren't here for this year. Could you buy herring and crackers with Meiser Sheni money? You take your Meiser Sheni money, you can go to Yerushalayim and buy any food you want. Herring and crackers, could you or not? The answer is crackers, yes, herring, not. Why? Because of this drasha right over here. Because they're shina the b'chlal prat. Sorry. The sign even osata kez b'chol asher tisholcha nafshecha. You take the Meiser Sheni money. What did I say? B'chol asher tisholcha. It says by me. Wow. Tav nafshecha. Oh no, but it says in my Gemara. I don't know why. Chazav v'kolal. Klalu pratu klal iyata donel gina prat. Oh, that's why. B'chol asher tisholcha kol ribuya of gabi Meiser d'chsiv kol. Because shina le b'chlal prat. The sign osata kez b'chol asher tav nafshecha klal. Take and buy steaks, go to a restaurant, do whatever you want with the money. Only these 4 items though in the restaurant. So therefore we have a klal pratu klal. You have to don't allocate a prat. Yes, there's items in the middle. You learn from them. What are they? Let's learn from them. Ma prat mefoyrosh. Pri. It's something that grows from another thing, like an apple. You take an apple, you put the seeds in the ground, more apples come out. You have a behema, has another behema. What does that include? Mushrooms. So when you go to the restaurant with your Meiser Sheni money, make sure that in the steak there's no mushroom sauce. There's no, you're very thirsty. You can't go to the store and buy a bottle of water. You can buy Coke, beer, wine, not water. Why? Because water doesn't grow from water. Grapes grow from grapes.
Coke has water.
Yeah, everything has water in it. So the steak, when you make a steak, it has a little water in it. Isn't steak 90% water? Okay, fine. 80, 75%. How much water is in a steak? How much water is in a human being? That's how much steak. You're allowed to eat steak. Fine. Karka. So water, salt, mushrooms, no. I've called pri v'geduli karka, that has to grow from the ground, and therefore herring, which does not grow from the ground, it's in the water, it doesn't eat from the ground like an animal, therefore you're not allowed to buy with your Meiser Sheni money fish. Amri b'kol klala. Says the Gemara, I want to make a distinction. The word koil or vichkoil is a ribuya. Bikol is a klal. You're right. We usually use it for klal prat klal, but now in our situation for Shabbos, we're going to say klal. I want to show the oilam that just walked in a beautiful picture that teaches us that on Shabbos or charisha, you're not allowed to use even a fish together with an animal because we have the word kol. Even in our case, it's a klal. Miuhai called the hachi ribuya. Now it comes to include why the first luchos don't have a chamar nashar, only behema. Because of a chol be'emtecha, so why does it say b'chol be'shma min ribuya? Now a few more lines. Hashadam is called ribuya. The word call comes to include everything, all animals, birds, fish. So we have a question. First of all, that word be'emtecha is extra. We have 3 words that are extra. Amri, now we're going to go back to what we learned before and we'll understand everything. It all comes together. Shar like muri, shar like chasima, that you can't muzzle even a bird like in this picture. Chamar lagmuri, chamar leprika, like this picture that I didn't show you, that you have to help your donkey with its load. Any donkey, even your enemy's donkey. That you cannot put 2 animals together, or here's another one that I didn't show you. This is Givaldic. A bird and a donkey cannot do any kind of work together. So what about a human being? From that pasuk, it says Adam in that pasuk. But a human being could go together with an animal. Or a papa, papunoi yaditaima, the milsa, and the papunoim know this, the pshat. And Rashi, interesting, says Pnina, the Yaakov Papunoi says that Pnina l'shem shemayim niskavnu. You know she meant l'shem shemayim. Rabbi Yisai, she got terribly punished. Her children died. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz says, but she was l'chaven l'shem shemayim, and he says when you insult somebody, it's fire. Even if you should l'chaven l'shem shemayim, and fire burns. Even if you l'chaven l'shem shemayim. That you should rest your slave, like yourself. Only the The only time animals and humans are compared are lahanacha, to rest, to kashtiv. V'loy ledava acher, but not to plow. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.